Hi everybody, this is Samantha Clausen and I am doing my final project video, and I just finished my arts-based research, so I kind of wanted to get it done right as I was finishing. So to start off with, when this class started, I was very overwhelmed, and just reading the syllabus, I just started to kind of doubt myself and be like, what is this class going to be like? I came from a different college and did most of my elementary ed stuff there, and this was just completely different than something I'd ever done. And then I'm also a full-time nanny, and I was just immediately already overwhelmed. And so that's kind of how I started out feeling about this class. And then so the rest of this, throughout the arts-based research, I kind of just jotted notes down because I'm kind of forgetful too. And so I don't really think in paragraph form, I think in bullet form. So if I sound kind of crazy, that's why. And so throughout my arts-based research project, I kind of took pictures as I went and jotted down notes. So for part one, I'll add the pictures at the end, but let me just show you. This is my project at the end, and I'll kind of explain things from how I went. So for part one, I immediately realized that I'm kind of an organization freak, and I was trying to put all of my pieces I cut out into straight lines, and I realized that I just needed to kind of let myself be creative and throw them on there. And then other things I noticed was I had a lot of activities, and a lot of them were my good activities, and then I had the bad ones from my first few lesson plans. And also I did objectives too that I'd cut out and glued on there. And my first few lessons were really objectives. But I could see my growth throughout, so that's one of the big parts. I could see my growth, and I could see the students' growth from the different activities, the different reflections that I glued on there. Like I said, the class did make me doubt myself, but it gave me a lot of room to grow, and I think I definitely did. And so that was the first part. And then the making connections part, I used orange paint, and I'll have a picture of that, but I could just see that my activities got better throughout the whole process. And I also, a lot of my activities I started to make more fun for the students, because I was kind of one of those people that I like worksheets, but they're not the best for learning. So like I said, learning should be fun. That was one of my big connections. And then another one was that my bad objectives, my bad lesson plans, my bad activities, everything improved, which is really important. Another connection I made was that I just didn't think I'd learn this much about myself through this whole process, through doing the arts-based research. I thought it was kind of weird at the beginning, but I really did enjoy it. And so the next part we did was we circled our three main areas, and you can kind of see it on mine. I accidentally kind of wrote my word over it, but the blue circles. So my three main areas were personal growth. Like I said, that was kind of my big thing. Another main area circled was that I really am at my best when I am teaching. I actually tutored the kids that I nanny for, and no matter how bad our day was, no matter how much crazy stuff happened, when I sat down and taught them, that's when I felt the most comfortable and I was having fun. So I know it's my calling, and that helped me to verify that. And then the last thing I circled was just that the best anyone can do is their best. And that's all we can ask from ourselves as teachers, and that's all we can ask from our students, is just that they give their best. So I think that's really important. So the next thing we did was we wrote our big word, and mine was growth. Because as long as we're growing, I think that's just kind of the most important thing. And then we did our squiggly thing, and so I did that too right there, and that's kind of over a spot where I wrote about how the students really learned a lot about themselves through some of the stuff we did. Some of our lessons dealt with anger and memories and losing people that are important to us, and they learned a lot about themselves, and then I also learned a lot about myself. So yep, and then I blacked everything out like we were told to do, and it was a weird feeling to black out all the work I had put into it, but it also kind of I blacked out all of my bad stuff and the stuff that was just kind of mumbo-jumbo and didn't really benefit me. So yeah, and then I wrote my reflection piece, and I'll just read that. I'm going to tape it on after my things all dry. And so I wrote, Throughout the process of tutoring and doing this arts-based research, I've realized that teaching is my calling and that I need to be a little less of a self-doubter and perfectionist. As long as I do my best and show my students love, that's all I need, that's all they need. I think I progressed in many ways throughout this process, just like the students did. And there were good days and bad days, just like there always will be, but every day we learned something. We learned that goofiness and fun take a huge part in learning and can really help us. We got deep with each other sometimes. We discussed things that helped us grow, and that is the most important thing to me. No matter what went wrong one day, what the double score was, how bad my first few lesson plans are, we grew together. And I think that's all we can ask for ourselves as teachers. So then at the very end, I kind of wrote a few more notes just about the whole process of tutoring and arts-based research. And so I'm kind of a perfectionist, and it kind of hinders me. So that's something I need to work on. And sometimes I let the anxiety of being perfect and being like the best teacher, that can hinder me as well. And I do it to myself sometimes by like procrastinating, and so that's something that I can work on in the future. I also wrote that I enjoy being creative, and even though I'm not that great at it, and I need to let myself take opportunities to be creative. I think it's important to just sit down and paint sometimes, or like write a journal entry or something, just to like be creative. I surprisingly did enjoy this because I really didn't think I would at the beginning, but it was fun. And like I said, with the blacking out part, I blacked out the negative and I focused on the growth. Like my big word was growth. This helped me realize I shouldn't doubt myself, and if I'm doing my best, my students and I will be completely fine. All I can ask for is growth every day, and it doesn't have to be a lot, like from myself, from my students, from anyone. And then that kind of got me thinking of like a classroom motto. Did you grow today? How much did you grow today? What did you grow in? I think it's important for students to know that even if they didn't do amazing on a test, did they learn something? Did they grow in some way? So I think that's important. I noticed that I improved a lot. My lesson plans, my reflections, my activities, my objectives, like everything improved, just like my students improved as well. Their reading got better, their fluency got better, their comprehension skills got better. So my very last thing I wrote was, I just didn't think I'd learned this much about myself through the process. And I'm very thankful for this class and everything I've learned. And I know I will take it to my student teaching and my first years of teaching and keep growing off of that. So I hope you guys all had fun and have a great summer.